Merry meet, my darlings. Thank you for joining me for another day of Witch's Kitchen, or as we always call it, Kitchen Witchery. Today we're going to be making the moon cookies that I had promised, along with two surprises. The first surprise that we're going to show now, just to get our appetites wet and ready for tonight, we're going to be making a honey barbecue sauce with a touch of garlic. In my case, that touch of garlic's a large bit of garlic. Now, before we get started, I would really like to ask you to please like, share, subscribe, and comment on this video. Let me know things you would like to see. If what you liked about it, what you didn't like. I would really like to hear this. Okay, so to start this sauce, we are going to be starting with a cup of ketchup. Oh, hang on. We're going to be starting with a cup of ketchup, a fourth of a cup of white vinegar, and a teaspoon of the liquid smoke. We're going to take it and mix that up. That way everything gets fully incorporated together. Just ignore my splatters. And ignore any familiars that come in to see what I'm doing. We do know that we like to have our familiars around, and they always think that they can help. Once we have this incorporated, we're going to add in half a cup of honey. Make sure you scrape it out, because a lot of that will be left behind. Once it's scraped out, we're going to be adding a quarter cup of molasses, you gotta make sure you scrape this out good too, because they love to stick, and you will be losing quite a bit of your ingredients that way. We're going to add about a quarter cup of garlic. You want to make sure that your garlic is minced. After that, we're going to add our spices. We're going to be adding half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of black pepper, a quarter teaspoon of paprika, a quarter teaspoon of chili powder, quarter teaspoon of garlic powder, a quarter teaspoon of cayenne, and a quarter teaspoon of onion powder. So we're just going to take all these spices and just drop them in. Okay, once we've got that in, we can mix this together. If it won't sit one way, we'll have to figure it out another way. And we're going to mix this in. And that is our sauce. Now, we do want this sauce to cook down. It'll cook down over a low heat for about 20 minutes so it can thicken up. Once this is thickened, due to all those sugars caramelizing, will give us a nice thick sauce. Now the sauce that I'm making can be used on anything. Tonight I'm actually going to be cooking the sauce and adding it to leg quarters for dinner tonight. A perfect complement to this is macaroni and cheese and baked beans. So we're going to put this on the oven. That way you know what's going on. And wait for it to heat up, and that's about 20 minutes once it gets hot, so it has time to thicken. After that, we'll start on those moon cookies. And I'll see you then. Welcome back, y'all. Well, we got the barbecue sauce all set. I'm letting it cool right now, but I figured, okay, we're going to go ahead and start on these moon cookies so you can see how it's done and the process that we're going to need for this recipe. We're going to start off with 1 cup of shortening. Butter flavor would probably be your best bet. That way it gives you a little extra flavor. After the 1 cup of butter flavored shortening, we're going to add 2 cups of sugar. Let me set this so you guys can see what's going on. Okay, so there's our shortening and our sugar. We're going to add 2 eggs. And we want to mix this up so we have a nice creamy base to add everything else to. Now, if it starts getting a little bit difficult to mix, we can go ahead and add the next 2 ingredients. Usually we use a mixer, but I'm not doing that today. We're going to add 1 cup of oil and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Now the great thing about these moon cookies is they are meant to be used during your cakes and ale ceremonies, any of your sabbats or your ebats. Actually, you can use them anytime you wish. You know, there's no set rule, but you do want to think about the blessing over these ingredients, because you want them to be clear of negative intentions. You want them to be pure and white and basically peaceful. Okay, next we're going to be adding in half a teaspoon of salt, 5 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, and 2 teaspoons of cream of tartar. Now, as always, I'm using my trusty flour sifter, and it's already got 2 cups of flour in it, along with the other ingredients. There's 3. And 4. And as always, the flour sifter is just to make sure that there aren't any clumps or pieces of plastic that come in from processed flours, which is basically any flour that's store-bought. Even if it is pre-sifted, it could have plastic in it. So it's always best to do your own. And I'm only tapping because sometimes it gets stuck around the rim as I'm using the sifter. Okay. And we need 1 more cup. Drop that in, and then we're going to mix all of this together. You can use an electric mixer with this, as I've said before. It's just the cord for my electric mixer won't reach this far, and I wanted to give myself a little bit more room so everybody could see what I'm doing and not from a side perspective. Now, when we take these out, you're going to roll them into a 1-inch ball. And that's about the size of your knuckle. Just gives you a little bit of an easier reference there. You want to have your oven preheated to 350 degrees. And once you've got everything mixed thoroughly and rolled it into 1-inch balls, you're going to shape them into half moons or stars, whatever your preference really is. And you'll flatten them just a little bit with a fork. Like I said, you're going to bake them at 350, and that's going to be for about 10 minutes. After that, you can sprinkle them with some powdered sugar or colored sugar, or even top them off with a little bit of cinnamon. And this will make you about 8 dozen cookies. So it's definitely enough to feed a coven. These can also be done as a dessert with the same blessings. For love and protection. So we've got our nice little crumbly dough going. to help us get them mixed together for when we roll them into balls. And I will get some of these rolled out, and some of them in the shape of moons and stars. Welcome back. As you can see, the cookies are done in the shape of not only stars, but also different moon shapes. We also added, after they came out and cooled a little bit, some silver and some gold sprinkles just to dress them up. Now for the second surprise that I promised y'all is the recipe for witch's brew. This can be served in lieu of ale, and it's very simple to make, and it's vegan. You're going to take a gallon of apple cider, which represents love, 1 orange, which represents love, 1 apple, which represents love, 3 cinnamon sticks, which represent love and psychic powers, 1/8 teaspoon of nutmeg, which represents fidelity, and a handful of rose petals, which again represents love. You're going to pour the apple cider into a large kettle, peel the orange. You're going to save the peel though and squeeze the juice into the cider. Discard the pulp. Tear the orange peel into 1-inch strips and add to the mixture. You're going to core the apple and cut it into 1/4-inch slices and add it. Break the cinnamon sticks in half. Add them to the mixture with the nutmeg. You're going to warm this over a low heat for 2 hours. Do not let it come to a boil. Right before you're ready to serve, sprinkle with rose petals. And that gives you all 3 recipes today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. I'd love to read your comments and see if there's something that you, again, would like to see. Thank you so much. Merry Part.